Hi, I'm Rich Harvey, CEO of Property Buyer. And today, our special guest on the show is Anthony Walls from Max Walls International. Welcome, Anthony.
Thanks, Rich. Good to be here.
I'd like to, Anthony, start with a couple of questions for you. And obviously, 2020 has been quite a tumultuous year with COVID coming through, and we've seen a lot of expats returning to Australia.
Yep.
How many expats have you estimate have returned to Australia, and how many are still over there?
So 390,000 returned this year. The main hub for us is the UK, the US more so than ever. Hong Kong, they're still coming out, but our main hub, I would say, is Singapore. 33% of those people have come home and they're not going back. It was a major wake-up call. 21% of those people are sitting, waiting for borders to reopen, and then they'll probably head back depending on the destination. And the others are also looking, because I think this whole year, which has been one of our best years, which we didn't expect, people just want to bring their money home.
So what's that doing to our property market back here in Australia, and particularly Sydney? What's the expat factor doing?
So typically for us, we've been in the expat market since the very early 80s heavily. A recent example, there was a property, and I'm not saying we don't deal with the locals because we love the locals, but the expats, they realise I'm not going to sit in, I've got people in hotels now in town. They don't have a window, they don't have a balcony, no fresh air, and they said, I'm not coming here to spend 2 weeks in a hotel for 5 days to buy a property to go back and do 2 weeks in San Francisco in a hotel. So they tell me, look, we'll get a lawyer to look at the contract, we'll get a building inspection, and I'm happy to pay a premium, and they're not really paying a premium. So as an example, if a property's $1 million, they're happy to pay 1.3 and they're paying the same price in US, which is $1 million basically. So that's what's the premium that's kicked a bit here.
And what sort of properties are they looking for? Is it harbourfront? Is it beachfront? Like what specific kind of properties are they looking for?
So a mix. I had a client from Singapore ring me the other day to buy an apartment in Neutral Bay. I've never seen the apartment. He said, look, I'm just happy to get it. My daughter's going to uni. Go and get it. It was about 1.3 million. So that's the sort of lower end of the range that they'll buy. And now we've got, the upper end in Mossman, where we've got buyers looking 20 to 40 million for houses, and right the way up the northern beaches. A lot of it has got to do with, I hate to say this word, but property's a new mattress. There's nowhere else to put their money. They're just worried, particularly in destinations in the Middle East, but they just want to bring their money home. Australia's a safe destination.
It's funny you use that word, property's the new mattress, because we notice with our property investors, we service both home buyers, investors and commercial buyers, and we're finding that people are going, well, why would I sell my commercial property? Because I've got nowhere else to put my money.
True.
Property's become a great safe haven for people. And I mean, as you say, particularly for those overseas buyers, they're really, really enjoying it.
And the thing that is also of a concern is that the banks are uninsured, only up to 250,000. I don't think a lot of people know that. So, but the majority of our properties are sold off market through buyers agents, because we don't really we know who the buyers are with the money, and they just want to bring their money home, and they're not overly fussy. If they can't get the suburb they want and they can get an equal suburb with a similar property, they'll just park that money there.
Yep. Okay. So I want to ask you, Anthony, about the various markets, so the lower northern beaches and the upper northern beaches. So let's start sort of where we are here in Manly today. Yep. What's happening in the market on the lower northern beaches, say from Manly to Mona Vale? Okay,
so Manly, we get about 9 million people through that wharf every year. Manly's become, which is interesting, if you go and watch on YouTube, there's a great introduction that's called Manly Master Plan 2015, and it'll fly you through. Manly's now the new tech hub of Sydney, and I didn't even know that until the other day, but if you go down the back of the Corso, you'll see all of these guys, Macquarie Bank, all these hedge funds, very successful companies down there. So as one of them said to me the other day, a client of ours that we brought in from Brazil, he said, I've got an office in Governor Phillip Tower, but I can walk around in my Havaianas and my board shorts and get more productive doing all the deals. And deals, I'm talking some in the 400 million plus range. If I've got a meeting, I can throw a suit on, I go to the airport, jump on the ferry and go. So that ability to be able to walk on a level, Manly's very level, unlike Barramal, Slopes or Bondi. So it's kicked the market twofold. Convenience, people are happy to get rid of a car, live in Manly. The people in Manly that are selling to those people are moving up the line. So a lot are going to Curl, people are going to Mona Vale. From here to Palm Beach, when that tunnel comes through, and I saw the plans the other day, pretty impressive, Oaks Hotel in Neutral Bay to Manly Beach in 5 minutes.
There you go.
So that'll lift a lot. And I think Manly Vale, everything down that main strip's gone. They've all been bought by clients of ours. But yeah.
So talking about the tunnel, the Northern Beaches Tunnel, which is going to start basically the entry points around Balgala, right? And then,
so when you come from Warringah Mall, before you go up the hill to Manly Vale, you go down there. Apparently, it pops out at the Oaks Hotel. 23 sets of traffic lights gone. They're pulling guys off major mining sites in Western Australia that I know to start on it.
There you go. And what's that going to do to property prices and access? Because if it takes away 23 traffic lights, the travel saving times is phenomenal, right? So my view is that it's going to see quite a spike in prices. What I tend to find happen when you've got a big infrastructure announcement is you get a bit of a spike at the announcement time, and then you get a spike just after it's finished when everyone goes, wow, this actually works.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree. And I think you'll see areas, so as a lawyer said to me the other day, the only thing affecting the market north of DY is the traffic.
Right.
But that'll change a lot.
So tell me about the whole COVID thing has brought about a lot more working from home. And so we've noticed the upper northern beaches has literally become hot property. It's incredible. So I was at an auction in Avalon the other day and it went way over our client's bidding price. And we just find there's just such a lack of stock. So what's driving that market in the upper northern beaches, like, right up to Avalon, Palm Beach, Newport?
So I would say lifestyle, remote working definitely. I mean, even us, we can be in any city in the world, mainly Singapore or the US, and we just need that tablet. And I'm sure you're the same. That's the new landscape. So a lot of the people that I deal with in those areas say, it's the best place in the world to live. A lot of them in financial markets or other creative industries, so they don't need to be physically in an office, and that's why you see all those empty commercial buildings.
Interesting. So commuting used to be the Bill Gola Bends would literally send you around the bend, right?
Yeah.
But now that doesn't seem to be an obstacle, because the latest stats that I'm seeing, and there was quite a lot of interviews last week in the Financial Review talking to the CEOs of the major companies, and they were asking them, when are you going to call your workforce back? And a lot of them are saying, well, we're only going to do it when the workers feel safe. And the new hybrid, they're saying, is going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 days a week working from home. You're still going to have collaboration on those days you're in the office, but the other days you can get productive working from home. So my view, the commuting aspect is not such a big factor now. And that's why those upper northern beaches areas are really, really taking off.
And let me tell you, if you look around the world, and you'd already know this, if you got blindfolded and tipped out at any one of those beaches, you'd be pretty happy.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'm sure you've travelled a lot overseas, and every time I come back to Sydney and I fly in and see the bridge and I go to a beach and I go, wow, we have an amazing beach. Why would you travel halfway around the world and put your towel down when there's plastic bottles and rubbish everywhere, where you come to a Sydney beach and it's pristine?
Yeah,
it's
we're very
amazing.
blessed.
So, yeah. So tell me, what's 2020 been like for you, and how has it been a different year for you?
So for us, we saw it coming, and I thought, wow, okay. And you sort of, like everyone else, scramble, think, right, let's see how this starts to shape up. The unexpected angle we didn't see was our expats. So they won't come and quarantine now. They just can't be bothered. So they're just saying, you know what, I'm not on the ground, Anthony. We'll pay the premium, just go and get it. So that's something that took a lot of staff issues out for us. We don't have the staff that we had by choice. But then I saw a lot of people, and it's a very small community, even though it's large. Word of mouth, so they're all, oh, you bought in Mossman, really? Oh, okay, well, I'll buy in Mossman. Colleagues, I can tell you one of the best streets in Mossman, I've got 3 or 4 people out of the same company.
Yeah.
And money won't move them now, but yeah, that's definitely lifted. It's one of our best years on record.
Interesting. Okay. And what's your predictions for 2021 going forward in terms of where the market's going to be in terms of pricing and in terms of volume of transactions going forward next year?
So on the surface, you won't see the volume because people like us have the majority of our volume tucked in the drawer, because we don't really need to advertise because we have the buyers on our database. But I think you're going to see, I think 2021 will be good. I think there'll be a bit of a lift. I'll go out and say 10%, I think, just from what I'm seeing in our space. And I think, there's a lot of talk. Well, yesterday, 2 of my clients in the US said that they're worried about apocalyptic issues. And I thought, wow, I've never heard this. But they're moving to other countries, so they're very worried about the US. I can't imagine anything like that would happen. But yeah, here you go, 69 US citizens have bought in Byron Bay this year.
There you go.
They're moving permanently.
Wow. What does that say about Australia? I mean, they just, it's a pristine environment. People, huge demand. Yeah. I mean, we haven't really seen any market conditions like we've seen. I mean, we started 2020 with a lot of promise, and then mid-March, COVID hit, and consumer confidence just plummeted, and people were running for the hills going, property's going to crash. Commonwealth Bank said, we could have a 30% drop. That didn't happen.
The depression
I heard that. What we had was property was incredibly resilient, and we saw property prices probably drop 5-6% across the board. Some suburbs dropped more, some less, but it was very resilient. But are there any kind of, learnings that you've come across, or that you've particularly adopted in your business practice, or you would advise for buyers to think about, just some learnings from 2020 that could be applied?
So with buyers, I would always say, buy what you can afford. I'm one of the few that are very gun shy with borrowing a lot of money. I got that in 21% days back in the 80s. I'll never do it again.
Interest rates, yep.
Buy what you can afford. When you buy, and this is very old lesson I learned, if you walk in and your gut says, I don't know, don't touch it. But if your gut says, I like it, you fight to the death and get it. I live by that. I think property in Australia is going to always be strong. Money's very cheap. I got told, if money ever drops to 8%, gobble up as much as you can.
We're way below that now.
Yeah, I know. But always just be cautious. But I can't see interest rates going up for a while. And the thing in a lot of these areas, particularly where we live on the North Shore, there's no more land. And that's the problem. And there's height restrictions on what you can build. So that forces the land price up, which forces the houses up. Add to that a lot of Australians coming home out of stronger currencies. That's what's really driving the market. If something's $1 million and a guy will pay 1.3, but it's $1 million in his money, that's the issue. But then the locals have the inside run because they find out before.
There you go.
So I think it'll all be good.
Excellent. A couple of questions around recommendations on where to buy and what to buy. So if you've got a buyer, say, looking to buy a freestanding home around $3 million, and they want to get some good long-term capital gains with lifestyle, what suburbs would you recommend for around $3 million as an upper limit? Okay,
for around $3 million, I would go Balgowlah, Fairlight, Manly Vale, parts of Curl Freshwater. I would buy the ugliest house on the biggest block of land in the best street, if you can, and I would hold because you're not going to lose money.
Yep.
They're going to continue to go up.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Now, if I had a buyer with slightly more money, between 3 and 5 million, where would you expand your horizons for that sort of budget? 3 to 5, I would go Collaroy, all the way through Narrabeen to Mona Vale, even Newport. A lot of these places have had major infrastructure, supermarkets, roads, everything, and you don't need to leave those places now, like we talked about with the bends, But I have an old rule: if you can buy within a mile of the coast, you'll be pretty safe. Yep. Well, everybody loves the coast. Exactly. Everyone loves the coast. And if you had 5 to 10 million, where would you say? 5 to 10, I would look from Cremorne to Mossman. They're in there. You won't see them publicly, but I know where they are. And then if you like the beaches, I would go through Manly, Freshwater. There's some great buys around Newport. Collaroy, Collaroy Plateau and Collaroy Basin are very good. In those areas. Manly, they're around. Excellent. Okay. Excellent tips there, Anthony. And just as a wrap up, any final thoughts about the year ahead next year?
I think it's going to be good. I think if the government keeps supporting, that's why we had that bump, because of JobKeeper. If they didn't help all of those people along, I think it would have been a lot worse. And as you see today, Josh Frydenberg wasn't as bad as they expected.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, people have got to put their money somewhere. They've got to live somewhere, and they would prefer to live in an area they love than sitting in traffic like I see 2 hours one way and then 2 hours on the way home. That's no good.
No, that's right, yeah. Well, I think our economy is pretty resilient. I mean, unemployment was forecast to hit 10 or 11%, and it's going to be somewhere around 7% or just over 7%. And I think our recovery is going to be pretty strong.
Yeah,
and,
I think so.
And as you've said, we've got a beautiful environment on the northern beaches, and that's why so many people are here. So.
Yeah.
Great. Well, look, thank you so much,
That's
Anthony.
all right.
I really appreciate you coming
Great
in
to be
today,
here.
and thanks for your contribution.
Anytime.
Thanks again for watching. I'm Rich Harvey from Property Buyer. Have a great day.